Welcome into Fast Break Friday for the weekend of February 28th through March the 2nd, 2025. This is Vol Society's college basketball weekend preview show featuring the Vols, the Lady Vols, the SEC, and games across the nation. We begin with those beloved Tennessee Volunteers, ranked number 5 in this week's AP Top 25 poll, and also looking for a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Big game coming up this week at Thompson-Boling Arena. It's the Orange Out game as Tennessee welcomes in number 6 Alabama. This is the only meeting between the Vols and the Crimson Tide this regular season, unless they meet each other in Nashville or in the NCAA tournament. But for Tennessee, big week for the Big Orange. 2 road wins this past week, winning last Saturday at Texas A&M and then winning on the road at Tuesday night against LSU. So right now, as we kind of take a look at the standings for both teams, and we're going to really do this throughout every SEC preview, kind of give you an idea where they sit as far as the SEC tournament goes, which is coming up in a couple of weeks in Nashville. But right now, Tennessee, as of this moment, is in the position for the double bye. They have the final slot for the double bye, currently sitting 4th place in the SEC. With a 10-5 conference record, 23-5 overall. Meanwhile, for Alabama, they are currently 2nd in the SEC with a 12-3 conference record, 2 games out of 1st place. And, of course, that's currently held by the Auburn Tigers. Alabama picked up a couple of ranked wins over the week, winning last Saturday at home against Kentucky, 96-83, and then a big blowout victory against Mississippi State, 111-73. But it will be the Crimson Tide and the Volunteers of Tennessee coming up Saturday, 4 o'clock on ESPN. Our beloved Lady Vols will be back at Thompson-Boling Arena this upcoming Sunday as they will welcome in the Georgia Bulldogs to Food City Center at Thompson-Boling Arena. Obviously, what can you say about Kim Caldwell in her first year at Tennessee? Just done a remarkable job, just outside the top 10. Obviously, Tennessee will be hosting a first round and second round NCAA tournament game. So how far can the Lady Vols go in her first season? It's just been I don't remember a coach in any sport, especially at Tennessee, that's kind of had just the first year, first season of anything for a coach as far as Kim Caldwell goes. Just, don't know much about her. Then her pregnancy, giving birth, and now in contention to have a great rookie season in the SEC. Could be a for SEC Coach of the Year. I know Don Staley in South Carolina's had a great season, and same thing with Kim Malarkey at LSU. But I think Kim Caldwell's right in the discussion for it. But we'll see what happens as the Lady Ball season winding down as we're getting ready to head for the SEC Women's Tournament in Greenville, South Carolina, coming up. I believe that'll be next week. All right, so let's take a look at the SEC as far as the guys go. 1 o'clock, ABC from Rupp Arena. The Auburn Tigers, number 1 team in the nation, taking on 17th ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Auburn obviously has been the most consistent team in college basketball this season, 14-1 conference record, 26-2 overall. Basically, a win at Rupp will secure them the SEC championship. No doubt about it, unless just a major collapse happens here in the next week or so. But I think they pretty much will wrap it up this week if all else fails. But, we've talked about Auburn all season with Janai Broom and just the great guard play that they have, and looking to make a big statement in the SEC tournament. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, it's just been an up and down season for them. 8-7 conference record, 19-9 overall. They're in no danger of missing the NCAA tournament. It's just their seeding is dropping in the tournament. And, if you're looking for potential mid-major upsets, upsetting a Power 6 school, Kentucky could be on that upset alert come tournament time. But we shall see what happens coming up from Rupp Arena in Lexington Saturday afternoon. 1 o'clock SEC Network, the Arkansas Razorbacks taking on South Carolina. South Carolina finally picked up their first SEC victory last Saturday, defeating Texas at home 84-69, and then they ended up dropping one to Missouri this week also. So right now they're 1-14. They're going to be pretty much wrapping up their season in Nashville. Just depends, unless they go on a miracle run and win the whole thing, but I highly doubt it. Meanwhile, for Arkansas, 6-9 in conference play, 17-11 overall. Looks like, if I'm doing my math correct, it looks like they're an 11 seed at this moment in the SEC tournament. So that's kind of where the Hogs sit at this point. 2 o'clock at ESPN2, Oklahoma at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has had a pretty decent season, been in and out of the top 25, currently out right now. Same record as Kentucky, 8-7, conference record, 19-9 overall. They currently sit 7th place in the SEC standings. Kentucky is 8. I forgot to mention that. But that's where they're at. Meanwhile, for Oklahoma, they're near the bottom of the league, 14th place in the SEC with a 4-11 conference record, 17-11 overall. 3:30 SEC Network, beg your pardon, from Humphrey Coliseum, LSU taking on 24th ranked Mississippi State. Mississippi State right now with a 7-8 conference record, 19-9 overall. You got 4 teams in the SEC with that 19-9 overall record. That's just the conference win-loss is a tad different. But right now, kind of sitting mid-pack in the SEC despite being ranked. And LSU, not much of a season at all. 3-12 conference record, 14-14 overall. Mike McMahon has been announced that he will return next year as the head coach in Baton Rouge. They're really going to take an emphasis on NIL and beefing up that roster for next year. So definitely a make or break season next year for the Bayou Bengals. All right, 6 o'clock, SEC Network. From Memorial Gym, the Vanderbilt Commodores. A lot of people's, I guess you could say, Cinderella pick coming into this NCAA tournament, wherever they land at. But they welcome in the Missouri Tigers. Vanderbilt with another chance to pull an upset win at home. Missouri has done a complete 180 from last year at this time when they didn't win an SEC game, and now all of a sudden they sit with 10 SEC wins, 10-5 conference record, 21-7 overall. Dennis Gaines, definitely a strong contender for SEC Coach of the Year. I'm sure, obviously, Bruce Pearl's going to get a lot of votes, but Dennis Gaines should get some flowers in the meantime. Meanwhile, for Vanderbilt, 7-8 conference record, 19-9 overall, but this is a very dangerous Vanderbilt team. And if Vanderbilt on Selection Sunday gets in that 10-11 seed in the NCAA tournament, don't be surprised if they can make a deep run in March Madness. They had the tendency to upset teams. I know ball fans know that very well. Kentucky fans know that very well. Didn't pull that upset with Auburn, but this is a very dangerous Vandy team. And even this Missouri team's not bad either. All right, a couple of SEC games to go. Georgia at Texas, 8 o'clock ESPN2 from the Moody Center. Georgia right now 5-10, conference record 17-11 overall, at one time ranked, but have just fallen on a hard time. Same thing with Texas, both with 5-10 conference records, 16-12 overall. Texas on the bubble. Really, both teams are on the bubble at this moment. Haven't officially been, I guess you could say, eliminated out, but the chances are very slim. Obviously, the loser of this game, it's going to be a detrimental loss to their resume, but we'll see what happens. Crazier things have happened in college basketball. And then the final game on Saturday, 12th ranked Texas A&M at number 3 Florida, 8:30 ESPN2. Florida right now 11-4 in conference play, sitting 3rd place with a 24-4 overall. Texas A&M right now seated 6th place with the 9-6 conference record, 20-8 overall. They have slipped a little bit since that Tennessee loss, but should be a fun game at the O'Connell Center coming up Saturday night as we're, like I said, still setting these seats for the SEC tournament. All right, let's go across the nation here very quickly, and we'll get you out of here. Interesting game in the Big 12 from Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence. 10th-ranked Texas Tech taking on unranked Kansas Jayhawks. Man, Kansas has just not clicked at all this season, but still a team that will get into the NCAA tournament just because of their strength of schedule. But, man, talk about a disappointing season for the Jayhawks. Meanwhile, for Texas Tech, just quietly in the top 10. And the Big 12 has actually had a pretty solid season. We're going to preview a couple other teams here in a moment. But you have Houston in the mix and, other teams. So, hey, Big 12's doing their thing. And then 9 o'clock ESPN up in Ames, Iowa, 22nd ranked Arizona taking on the 9th ranked Iowa State Cyclones. Last time these two teams met, it was a Caleb Love half-court buzzer beater as the Wildcats took down the Cyclones in Tucson. Now the rematch Saturday night in Ames. Be a very interesting matchup there, and trying to find out who is the regular season Big 12 champions. Big game in the Big 10 Sunday, 1:30 on CBS. 11th ranked Wisconsin at number 8 Michigan State. Michigan State now kind of trending back towards hot. I wouldn't say they've been hot or cold, but they got real hot for a while and then lost a couple of games there, including a terrible loss to Indiana. But now they're kind of getting back hot. Same thing with Wisconsin, although they took a loss last Saturday at home in overtime to Oregon. But a couple of old school Big Ten basketball programs duking it out on a Sunday afternoon from the Breslin Center in East Lansing. And then in the American Conference, Sunday afternoon from the Bartos Center in Birmingham, 18th ranked Memphis at UAB. Penny Hardaway and the Tigers now hot again. They were slipped out of the top 25 going into conference play, but now they have crawling their way back up. Meanwhile, Andy Kennedy's UAB Blazers just a game and a half out of first place. They're tied with North Texas. So a huge opportunity for UAB to clinch the regular season American Conference Championship. And, of course, Memphis right now holds that at this moment. So we'll see what happens this Sunday afternoon. But that's going to wrap it up for Fast Break Friday, as we are now in the final week of the season coming up next week. And obviously the Lady Vols do wrap up the season on Sunday and getting ready for the SEC Women's Tournament down in Greenville. But that's going to wrap it up. This is David Morrison for Vol Society, and as always, enjoy the hoops.